On April 14th, a group of U.S. lawmakers led by Senator Lindsey Graham flew to Taiwan for an official visit. And this prompted a response from the Chinese government, which considers Taiwan part of mainland China. The next day, on April 15th, China announced that it is conducting air and naval drills around the island, reinforcing its threat to use force in bringing Taiwan under its control. Zhao Lijian, the spokesperson of the CCP Foreign Ministry, said that Beijing would, quote, continue to take strong measures to resolutely safeguard its sovereignty. Hu Xijin, who's the former chief editor of China propaganda tabloid Global Times, also commented, saying there is, quote, a real sense of crisis regarding Taiwan. He advised the Chinese public to be prepared for military actions due to U.S.-China tensions. In a WeChat post, he stated, quote, there's a very high probability that this U.S.-China-Taiwan three-sided game will ultimately escalate to a direct military confrontation. There could be a war on a high-intensity military crisis, the impact of which would be fundamental, end quote. Hu Xijin said that although the army is ready, the public is not, and that it will be required for society to adapt quickly once the crisis arrives. Since the war started in Ukraine, the United States, in a show of support, has sent delegations to Taiwan with an aim to deter the CCP's aggression. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan stated recently that Taiwan's situation is different than Ukraine's, and it is U.S. policy to ensure that the Chinese invasion of Taiwan never occurs. He also said that the Biden administration has expressed concerns about China, quote, taking efforts to unilaterally change the status quo. And he emphasized that the U.S. relationship and security partnership with Taiwan is guided by the Taiwan Relations Act. That's a reference to a 1979 U.S. law requiring the United States provide Taiwan with the military equipment and supplies necessary to enable Taiwan to maintain a sufficient self-defense capacity. Albert Chiu, a professor at Taiwanese University of Shanghai, indicated that there is a change in U.S. policy on the Taiwan issue, which shifted from a strategic ambiguity to strategic clarity. In the past 40 years, the U.S. ambiguity toward Taiwan was causing instability in the Indo-Pacific region, Chiu said. In particular, the focus of Washington was not on Taiwan, but on global affairs. This was encouraging China to underestimate U.S. resolve. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has reminded the world of the fraught relationship between mainland China and Taiwan. Taiwan declared that it will continue to be more self-reliant in terms of defense and collaborate with the U.S. and other countries on maintaining stability in the Taiwan Strait and the region in general. Shanghai. Once known as the Pearl of the Orient, it is China's financial hub, and with a population close to 26 million, it's also the biggest city in China. That city has been in complete lockdown for 3 weeks now. There have been over 320,000 official cases of COVID infections. However, with Beijing's zero COVID policy, it has a new target: to be totally free of COVID by April 20th. Jie Chen, a party secretary of one of the Shanghai districts, expects that turning point should have happened around the 17th of April, and that zero COVID status will be official by the 20th. Will that mean that the end of lockdowns will be around April 20th? Well, on April 16th, the city of Jinhua in Zhejiang province just entered lockdown itself. The next day, on April 17th, a business town, Suzhou, in Jiangsu province, also got locked down without any notice. Chinese netizens conclude that of the top 100 most populated cities in China, only 13 are not under lockdown. Wang Dan, a Chinese analyst and director of the Washington-based group Dialogue China, concludes that even if the closures can be lifted, the crisis will still break out in Shanghai. He indicates two major crises on the horizon. The first one, economic. Wang Dan cites Japan's Shanghai Consul General Shuichi Akumatsu's letter to the Shanghai Vice Mayor Ming Zong. He posts in the consulate's website on Saturday, April 16th, and talks about how 11,000 Japanese businesses in Shanghai are concerned over the virus, not itself, but the virus restrictions, and that with the extension of the COVID policies, the impact on business activities is becoming more severe by the day. He also added that the future uncertainty has become a major factor affecting companies. He believes that the CCP extreme zero COVID policy has accelerated its disconnection from the world's economy. Many foreign investors have to make up their mind whether to pull out of China entirely, which may cause a big problem for China's economy down the road. Mr. Wang said the crisis of confidence is a second breaking point. He believes that the epidemic prevention in Shanghai caused a big psychological impact on many citizens, especially the middle class. People are facing difficulties sourcing food, losing income, being separated from families, and generally poor conditions at the central quarantine centers. Tensions on many occasions have erupted into public protests or scuffles with the police. Netizen chatter indicates that immigration has become a particularly attractive option at this time. Mr. Wang believes that although in China the young generation blindly believes the CCP, once they experience a brutal reality themselves, they will wake up to what it is like to live under the totalitarian regime.